Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get.
Tim Redmond, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great, Clay. So good to be here today.
Since last time I saw you, you've spoken in Brazil. Is that right? Were you in Brazil? Where did you speak? The big audience I saw on Facebook. Where were you?
That was Brasilia. Went to Rio. I just got back from Quebec, which is a little bit north of Rio in Canada, and actually went out to the country of California and just came back there from yesterday.
Well, not to one-up you, but for any of the Thrivers watching this, I went to Okmulgee. That's a town outside of Tulsa. I went to Okmulgee.
Yeah.
While you were going to Brazil, I went to Okmulgee. I know you're jealous. But for anybody watching this today, before we kind of get going as we teach this step-by-step guide to becoming wealthy, the reason why I'm so excited about talking about this is that Thrivers are always asking, where do I start? What is like the first step I need to take? And so today we're going to be getting into the specific step-by-step action steps you need to take to go from where you are to where you want to be. But before we dive in too deep into it, I just wanted to really just give you a little bit of a background as to who Tim Redmond is, in case you haven't watched any of the other series or maybe you haven't watched his bio segment. So here we go. Tim has been featured in John Maxwell's famous 21 Laws of Leadership book, the best-selling book. You've spoken around the world this month. You've helped grow tax and accounting software from 2 employees to 400 employees, which actually generated over $120 million of profits before selling it to the Fortune 1000 company. Yeah. So you've had a lot of... Tim, can you tell us a little bit about your background and kind of some of the challenges that you dealt with growing up?
Well, I mean, I love business, love growing businesses, but I started out really rough. When I was born with complications, a cleft palate, had numerous operations. They didn't expect me to live hardly through the first couple weeks. Had broke my leg several times as a little kid. Was deathly afraid of my own shadow, was very introverted. I grew up in a very large family. There was 11 of us kids. We were a football team coming in to a
11?
place here. It was 11. Same mom and dad, or at least they claim that. I'm sure that some of my brothers and sisters, or maybe myself, was adopted. That's all okay. We all worked together. Whenever we came into a place, everybody knew the Redmonds had shown up. So, do you have a brother named? I say I have a brother named whatever you're going to say. I have a brother named that. So. Anyway, but we had a number of challenges, had even 3 of my siblings that were killed in various accidents. I was in an accident with one of them and had to learn to read and write all over again. They didn't expect me to live through it. My brother died and they didn't expect me to live, but it was just overcoming a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges.
If you're watching this, and I know that because of the time and the Thrive edutainment format, a lot of times we don't deep dive into certain things, but you've obviously grown up with physical disabilities. You've lost 3 of your siblings. So if you're watching this and you're dealing with some stuff, we've all dealt with some stuff, but we don't want you to feel like you're not qualified to achieve success just because you've had some adversity. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going through each one of these step-by-step processes here. But as we go through these, we're going to be bombarding you with notable quotables, statistics, just a fire hose of knowledge. It's going to be awesome. And what we're going to do, though, Tim, is I'm going to ask you to kind of break down each one of these points into kind of some third grade knowledge. So at least I understand what's going on, kind of those third grade level.
Let's do it.
And to share some big stories with us. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and dive into it like an Olympic diver, Tim. Here we go. Boom. Step number 1, take complete ownership of your life. Tim, according to the June 6, 2014 article that appeared on CBSNews.com on their Money Watch segment, 6 out of 10 Americans, probably not you people, but other people, 6 out of 10 Americans do not believe that the American dream is possible. They believe that the American dream is dead, according to this recent poll. So Tim, without getting political, in your mind, why is this? Why are people not believing anymore that the American dream is possible?
I believe that they're not playing with their full heart. They've been discouraged. They've been knocked down. They have been disappointed. They've tried things but it didn't seem to work. And a lot of it has to do with this first thing of really taking ownership, complete ownership. And what we end up doing is we end up, when bad things happen to us, we either blame ourselves and go down into the depths of despair, or we blame other people or blame the economy, and we never take ownership of what we need to take ownership of to help push us forward.
There's a quote that Helen Keller, she's the famous deaf and blind lecturer. She's the author.
Oh, she's amazing.
Think about that for a second. Deaf and blind. And she said the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Now, we've all had a vision or dream for our life, but at some point we start to get overwhelmed with the routine frustrations of life, and we start to settle for mediocrity. We start to feel like I just can't do it. Tim, in your mind, why does that happen, and why do people begin to lose their vision and their sense of ownership of their life? Why does it sort of drift over time?
Well, taking ownership is really taking responsibility. You've got to be willing to stay in there even when you're knocked down or you're knocked out. Several occasions in my life, I was knocked down, near-death experiences, and I had a choice to stay where I was or to rebuild, to get back up in the game and play full on. And so it hurts. It's not convenient. It takes effort to get your heart in the game and really take ownership of what's going on in your life.
You know, to hammer home what you just said, Jim Rome, the best-selling success author, he's a rags to riches story. And he basically just said what you were saying there. He says, you must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. This is something you have charge of. Tim, what needs to happen for us? I mean, if I'm watching this, what do I need to do right now? What's an action step I need to do to take ownership in my life? If I've maybe dealt with a physical disability like you have, or I've dealt with the loss of loved ones like you have, or I've dealt with poverty, or what is an action step I need to take here?
Well, when you look at this first step, taking complete ownership of your life, you can allow your setbacks to define you. And it's really making a decision, Clay, to say, listen, these setbacks aren't going to define me, they're going to refine me.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to use these as stepping stones. If it knocks me down, I'm going to get up and defy it. It's getting this attitude to say, I have enough on the inside of me to play this game, and I'm going to play until I win. It's this sheer determination. There's this fire of desire that comes up where you say, listen, I'm going to win even if that's my dying breath. And you think, well, that's a little bit melodramatic. Life is melodramatic. These guys have gone through rough times. I know it. Hearing your stories, Clay, we go through rough times. So it's not what's the magical formula to get success. It's learning to get up when you're knocked down. That's the skill.
You said it's how you don't let these setbacks basically define you, but let them refine you.
Yeah.
That is powerful, and I think a lot of times if you're watching this and you're going through some stuff, some of the people that we know about in history that are the most successful people, we actually defined them because of how they were refined by these situations. So Abraham Lincoln, we talk about what a great leader he was because he was dealing with such a horrible situation.
Yeah.
Or we talk about Sam Walton and how Walmart was so great, but because of the challenges he went through to start the company. And so it's just, if you're going through some stuff, this might be your setup right now.
It is. I mean, you say Brazil. I was in Brazil and I spoke to a crowd of 15,000 people. Now, when I was born, that cleft palate, had all these operations, and there's cleft palate out there, but usually they're not public speakers. I love to see when they are. but I would have kids make fun of the way I spoke. I had somebody when I was really young say, this guy will never be a public speaker. Look at this handicap. And lived under that curse. And so for me to get up and speak to 2 people, but here's 15,000 people, it's in defiance of that. And so that was it could have defined me and put me in a box, but it refined me. Mm-hmm. Wasn't easy. I had to learn to decide to step through the pain. I had to do it afraid, Clay. I had to do it when it's not perfect, but that's what you do to get successful. You do it afraid. You do it when you're bound up. You do it with a broken leg, but you move forward.
You know, Gary Keller, the guy who started Keller Williams Realty, it's a big $1 billion real estate company. And he says this quote, he says, taking ownership of your outcomes by holding no one but yourself responsible for them is the most powerful thing you can do to drive success. Tim, in your life, can you share with me a story of how you've seen this concept of taking ownership of your life play out in the life of maybe one of your clients that you've worked with, or maybe where you've seen this because you've gone through it? I mean, you've dealt with it. Are there other examples of people you can think of who've not been defined by their situations, but actually were refined?
Oh yeah, I had a client I was working with, and this is I started working with them right at the apex of this great recession. Mm-hmm. It was 2008, 2009. They came on board November 2008, and they were in the construction business, and all their friends and competitors were going down. Not just losing money, they lost their businesses. And in the middle of that, I'm pouring heart and soul into them, Clay, and nothing's happening. And I'm realizing that this guy is hearing it and says, yes, okay, yeah, we'll do it. But his heart wasn't in the game. He wasn't out there to play to win. Some people just play not to lose. And I'm trying to get this guy, don't play not to lose, just play to win. And so when he made a shift to say, listen, I'm going to win no matter what it takes. I'm going to own this. I'm going to go forward with this. That year, instead of losing his business, because we're right on the brink of it, he almost doubled his sales. He quadrupled his net profit. He grew from $800,000 to, it's a small company. I work with a lot bigger companies, but this small company, $800,000 to $1.4 million. Then he jumped to $2.2 million. I mean, now we're on our way to hitting $5 million with all kinds of profits.
I'm going to give you a boom. Boom. Awesome. Now, we're moving on to step 2. So if you're watching this, I mean, I'm telling you, this step 1, we got to take ownership. No matter what you're dealing with, we have to take ownership.
Yeah.
Now we're moving on, assuming that we're taking ownership. On to step 2. Step 2 is commit to lifelong learning. Now, Tim, Brian Tracy, the best-selling author, business consultant, and speaker, says, no one lives long enough to learn everything they need to learn starting from scratch. To be successful, we absolutely, positively have to find people who have already paid the price to learn the things that we need to learn to achieve our goals. Tim, I'm looking for a little story here. Tim, so many people quit learning after they graduate from college or high school or after they've experienced some success. They're kind of like, well, I've learned enough, now I'm pretty much good. From your experience, share with me a story about how you've witnessed somebody who's been committed to lifelong learning, how it's impacted their lives, or maybe how it's impacted your life. This concept of lifelong learning.
Well, we're talking about building wealth. And so I define wealth, what drives wealth is learning. And it's not just learning right then and there, but it's an ongoing, present, progressive learning. And so I remember studying in college, I studied accounting and finance. And I found myself in this big public accounting firm, and I felt like trapped in here. It's like I want to build these businesses. I want to help people. I want to work with people. And I'm like doing this ticking and tying. And it's wonderful. If you're in that kind of business, it's great.
It's awesome.
It's really not great. Not just like, no, it's wonderful for those kind of people. But I saw myself as being stuck. Mm-hmm. And thinking, what am I going to do? And I remember it was in 1984, and I'm thinking, where am I going to go in my life?
Boom, 1984.
1984 is like a book written about that.
Boom.
So anyway, I remember saying, you know what, I'm going to continue learning. I was studying for my CPA exam, so we got that knocked out. But I remember getting this book by Tom Peters and Robert Waterman, In Search of Excellence. And it was the management gurus. They wrote it a couple years earlier. And I started reading this, and it just opened up this world of management and building businesses and motivating people. And it just lit me up. And I just started going, just every week, every month, I'd go into a new book, just diving into it. And it just expanded me. I was ready for the opportunity. When it came by, I was ready for the opportunity to jump on it to help grow this business.
I want to share this little anecdote with the Thrivers because you mentioned In Search of Excellence. It is bizarre how, as we've interviewed Thrivers all across the country, how you hear countless of them, these mentors mentioned. They say, these people who have built $1 million businesses, these success stories, you say, when was your moment? When was your aha moment? When did you decide that you would become the head of this company or the CEO or the guy who would start this mega business? And they all point back to a book usually, or a specific seminar, but it was a learning opportunity that exponentially increased their earning opportunity. And so I just love that that's a book that in 1984 got you going. Now, Tim, I want to read this quote to you. Gary Keller, again, best-selling author, co-founder of Keller Williams Realty. The reason why I love Gary Keller is that he is a phenomenal author, but he's a phenomenal real estate guru, and he's a phenomenal business person. And he says this, he says, a college professor once told me, Gary, you're smart, but people have lived before you. You're not the first person to dream big. So you'd be wise to study what others have learned first and then build your actions on the backs of their lessons. He was so right, and he was talking to you too. Tim, when you were growing tax and accounting software from 2 people to 400 people, how did you experience success as a result of maybe studying other companies or studying other people? How did you guys not get stuck? Because you could have been stuck where it was just 2 people.
Oh, yeah.
How did you study other companies and kind of apply it to your own business there?
Gee, I mean, I remember when Fast Company came out.
Yeah.
Now, we had already been going as a company, but just reading, I would read Inc. magazine. So I would be watching other people, what they did and how they attacked their problems. And I'm surrounding myself with people that are overcoming odds and building big. And so that's what I surrounded myself with. So that's what my expectations began to just come in line with that. And I would do this, Clay. I would get my top guys. I'd get into a book there's this thing by the Hasselbein or by the Peter Drucker Association.
Yeah.
We'd get these executive briefings there, and I would gather my team around, and we will have had to have read this thing. We come in and we talk about it, and then we say, well, how are we going to apply that right now to this company? And so reading on my own and also getting a group where I'm reading together with my people that I want to pour into. And then our last question is, what are we going to do about this knowledge right now in our company?
I will say this, old school, this is like 2001 when I interned for Tim. We did not know each other. I remember just coming up there on the floor, and there was probably close to 400 employees at the time. And I remember looking around, and there was all these people and all these computers and all these phones, all this office space. And one of the things that really deeply impacted me was there was a professionalism, there was an organization, there was a systematic approach to what you were doing, and the training was over the top. It was very systematic. It was very good. We had a lot of Subway that we got for free. We had a lot of pizza we got for free. I'd try to take that home as an intern there. But one of the things I would say, I just remember that it was such a systematic. It was almost like the Death Star of accounting software. It was just it was awesome, very efficient. But you don't get to that level of success without studying these companies like with what you were doing there. So you literally got the teams together and would deep dive into these reports?
We deep dive, and then people that went before us that were a lot smarter than us, we read what they did right, what they did wrong, their success, and then we dive into, okay, well, what's happening behind the scene? And I would hire really smart people.
Yeah.
And they were obsessed with their own opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they were thinkers, and they would get in and begin to think about that. And we really dive down and say, well, what problem did they have, and what were they feeling on the inside? And we're coaching each other. It was just an amazing environment where we would coach each other and challenge each other on this, and we created our own language, really, that based on what we learned in this. So.
Was it sort of like a Klingon dialect? Was it kind of?
We didn't. Were you there long enough to be introduced to that?
That might have been a new guy sort of hazing they were doing. Okay, so Tim, now we're talking about Sir Isaac Newton. For those of you who might have been studying some history, Sir Isaac Newton, he's this long-haired man that was sort of a big deal. He was an English physicist and mathematician who many believe would be one of the most, who was one of the most influential human scientists of all time. And he helped to launch the scientific revolution. The point is, why do you care? He made this quote. He says, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on ye shoulders of giants." He used the ye because he's old school. But standing on the shoulders of giants. So it seems like instead of, only seeing what he can see, he would get up on their shoulders and look into the future because they'd already seen it.
That's beautiful.
Can you talk to me, if I'm a business owner, I'm watching this right now, or I want to be a business owner. Talk to me about this concept of standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah. Wealth flows through learning, and so it's from this expanded perspective that you can see the future better. Your business, which camera is it that we need to look at here? Well, this one?
I'm like a human camera. They've embedded a camera into my cranium, but you can also look at that camera too. But it's embedded.
I want to look here, and I want to look right there at that guy. Look at that gal looking at me right now. I'm just saying that. Your business is crying out for your leadership. And the word leader actually means to set your face towards the future. That's what leadership is all about, that. And so standing on the shoulders of these giants here is you don't read books because you have to. You do have to if you want to succeed. But get to a point where it's not a have to, but you get to, and there's a joy in this. Do you like having a lot of money? Do you like being successful? Then I don't like to read, I don't like to learn. Well, then like to be poor, because that's what you're going to be, right? Is this too blunt?
Well, I want to share this because if you're watching this, I just tell you specifically, Think and Grow Rich, that book alone, applying the principles, it probably generated, $5-6 million for me. Then I think about like the E-Myth. That book, E-Myth by Michael Gerber, that book is easily responsible for me making another $40,000 or $50,000 every year. I mean, so when you read these books, these are not just ideas. These are things that can actually be applied and can make you a lot of extra money here.
And one thing that I love about you and your approach, you've really influenced me on this, is when you read a book, Clay, and I've asked you about this, you will not let go of that book. You'll squeeze it until it bleeds. And you're going to demand of yourself to apply something immediately to your business about that. And that's the difference that makes a difference. Because we read books. Well, I read 50 books. And are you applying it? Because that's the key. It's not just learning it, but learn in order to do.
I love what you said there. Not because you were talking about me in a positive way. I love that you complimented me. I feel so. No, but it's when I remember going to college, and I had a professor named Amanda. I cannot remember her last name, but I had to take an English class over again because I do horrible on standardized tests. And she explained to me that every time you learn an idea in a book that you can apply to your life, you need to write it in the margin. Dog-ear the page, think about how you can apply it. And just that concept of not just reading something to have finished it, but not to finish reading it until you've applied it was unbelievable to me. Now I want to read you, or I want to ask this question here, is a lot of entrepreneurs watching this are definitely tempted to, you get to a point where you say, well, I'm not a reader, I'm not a movie watcher, I'm not a Thrive online content viewer, I'm just going to go out there and learn from mistakes. Now, what would you say to the entrepreneur who's tempted to learn that way, to learn from mistakes?
You have to look at how much, to buy a product, you're going to have to know how much you're going to have to spend on that product. So I'm just saying economically, you're going to spend a lot more dollars buying that mistake than you will buying the learning. The learning is about $14. And I buy used books on Amazon, go Amazon. I buy Kindle, I buy all kinds. And I'm talking about $10 to $14, and if I really read it in order to apply it, not read it to grow wiser, but read it to apply it. If I do that, I'm going to spend a lot less on the learning than I am on the mistake.
I just want to make sure that you hopefully you're hearing that. Again, it's a lot less painful monetarily to learn from mentors than mistakes.
Yeah, Clay, I've talked to so many people. We work with entrepreneurs. We coach them. I was just with a guy this morning. Anyway, it's like, well, I just want to be original. Okay, so you're going to reinvent the wheel? How is that square thing going for you? It's like it's
square wheels.
I've heard this from Steve Jobs and other good friends of mine, personal friends of mine. Someday we'll have. I got you as my personal friend.
That's right. We're very personal friends.
All right. So he says it's a lot cheaper to be a pirate than a pioneer.
Boom.
And so why do we want to reinvent everything? Build on what you're building. Build on the shoulders of these people. That's how innovation, that's how technology, that's how business, that's how life happens. It gets better because we build on the business and the knowledge that other people have already built before us.
Now, Tim, Jack Welch, the American business executive, author, chemical engineer, this guy served as the chairman and the CEO of GE, General Electric, between 1981 and 2001. And he actually rose the company's value over 4,000% during his time. And he says the ability to learn and translate that learning into action rapidly is the ultimate competitive advantage. Tim, why is it so important for the thrivers watching this right now that if they want to achieve in the business world, that they become rapid appliers of knowledge? Can you just explain to me when you say rapid, is this something like every week I should be learning something new and applying it, or is this?
Yeah, it's every week is if you're going to really slow the process down. But if you have a mindset of every day you're going to apply something. Learning isn't just gaining information, Clay. Learning is contrasting. It's trying things. It's seeing what works and what doesn't work. So the learning is when reality collides with that idea, and you see what happens. Learning is saying, "Oh, I need to adjust." So learning has more to do with adjusting than it does gaining information. And so if we can adjust quicker, we'll become better quicker, and that is the competitive advantage. I like what Tom Peters said. He said, if you're learning, the true learning, which is adjusting, if you're adjusting and making changes to the market, but you're not making changes faster than your competitor, you're actually falling behind. And so it's think weekly, but even think daily or even hourly. You think, well, that's melodramatic again. It's not melodramatic. That's how people that have these businesses that kick the rest of everybody else's butt in the marketplace. That's their mindset.
Now, Tim, I know in my career I started running a business while I was still a teenager, and I had a lot of success early. So I started to kind of, I didn't do it too long, but I started to drift a little bit. I'm like, okay, we just bought a new house, have a lot of extra money, don't really need to work super hard. So, you start to maybe have a month where you kind of, drift a little bit there. And then I had a competitor do some crazy stuff, which motivated me. So I want to thank that guy. But it motivated me to get focused again.
He probably worked for you at one time, didn't
he? Yeah. Well, Richard Branson, he says this is the English billionaire entrepreneur.
Yeah, right.
He's the one who's famous for starting Virgin Group, Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines. He says, what's my biggest motivation? Just keep challenging myself. I see life almost like one long university education that I never had. Every day I'm learning something new. Tim, throughout your career, how have you challenged yourself to maintain a certain motivation? Because you've obviously had some high points, low points. How have you continually challenged yourself to maintain your motivation?
Well, first of all, it's easy to drift. The disease that destroys our business and our business growth is this disease called comfort. So we get comfortable where we are, and we lose our motivation. Why? What is motivation? Motivation is pursuing an unmet need. So if your needs are met, usually there's an absence of motivation. So what my good friend Richard Branson, myself, Clay Clark, other people that I know and respect, they stay motivated because they keep clear in front of them a need that's not yet met. So they're pursuing to fulfill that need. That's motivation. Motivation is motion, creating motion towards that, and that's what it is.
You created a fire hose of knowledge, and it just exploded my brain here. But I want to clarify this because it was so much goodness. I'm being serious. Comfort is a killer. I just want to make sure if you're watching that, that's like that's dangerous. And you might have been in countries where they say they have island time, and they joke around. But basically, there's enough abundance with the vegetation and with the climate. It's nice enough where you don't have to do a lot to get anything to make it. And so you see a lot of comfortable people not doing a lot. And if that's your goal, that's okay, I guess. But I love how you said comfort is a killer.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma, June 27th and 28th. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old, but I've never had the two-time Heisman Award-winning Tim Tebow come present. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Also, this is the first Thrive Time Show event that we've had where we're going to have a man who has built a $100 million net worth.
Wow.
Who'll be presenting. Now, we've had a couple presenters that have had $1 billion net worth in some like real estate sort of things.
Yeah.
But this is the first time we've had a guy who's built a service business, and he's built over $100 million net worth in the service business. It's the yacht driving, multi-state living guru of franchising. Peter Taunton will be in the house. This is the founder of Snap Fitness, the guy behind 9 Round Boxing. He's going to be here in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma, June 27th and 28th. JT, why should everybody want to hear what Peter Taunton has to say?
Oh, because he's incredible. He's just a fountain of knowledge. He is awesome. He has inspired me listening to him talk. And not only that, he also has, he practices what he teaches. So he's a real teacher. He's not a fake teacher like business school teachers. So you got to come learn from him.
Also, let me tell you this, folks. I don't want to get this wrong because if I get it wrong, someone's going to say, you screwed that up, buddy. So Michael Levine, this is Michael Levine. He's going to be coming. You say, who's Michael Levine? I don't get this wrong. This is the PR consultant of choice for Michael Jackson, for Prince, for Nike, for Charlton Heston, for Nancy Kerrigan, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times best-selling authors he's represented, including pretty much everybody you know who's been a super celebrity. This is Michael Levine, a good friend of mine. He's going to come and talk to you about personal branding and the mindset needed to be super successful. The lineup will continue to grow. We have hit Christian recording artist Colton Dixon in the house. Now, people say, Colton Dixon's in the house? Yes, Colton Dixon's in the house. So if you like top 40 Christian music, Colton Dixon's going to be in the house performing. The lineup will continue to grow each and every day. We're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup. But I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, when's it going to be? June 27th and 28th. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And someone says, Tulsa, Jerusalem. It's I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrive Time Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. So when? June 27th and 28th. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
James, did I tell you my good friend John Lee Dumas is also joining us at the in-person 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show Business Workshop? That Tim Tebow and that Michael Levine will be at. Have I told you this?
You have not told me that.
Oh, he's coming all the way from Puerto Rico. This is John Lee Dumas, the host of the chart-topping eofire.com podcast. He's absolutely a living legend. This guy started a podcast after wrapping up his service in the United States military, and he started recording this podcast daily in his home, to the point where he started interviewing big-time folks like Gary Vaynerchuk, like Tony Robbins, and he just kept interviewing bigger and bigger names, putting out shows day after day, and now he is the legendary host of the EO Fire podcast, and he's traveling all the way from Puerto Rico to Tulsa, Oklahoma to attend the in-person June 27th and 28th Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshop. If you're out there today, folks, you've ever wanted to grow a podcast, a broadcast, you want to improve your marketing, if you've ever wanted to improve your marketing, your branding, if you've ever wanted to increase your sales, you want to come to the 2-day interactive June 27th and 28th Thrive Time Show Business Workshop featuring Tim Tebow, Michael Levine, John Lee Dumas, and countless big-time super successful entrepreneurs. It's going to be life-changing. Get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. James, what website is that?
thrivetimeshow.com.
James, one more time with more enthusiasm.
thrivetimeshow.com.
Shadow, everything rides on tonight. Even if I got 3 strikes, I'ma go for it. This moment, we own it. I'm not to be played with because it could get dangerous. See these people I ride with. This moment, we own it.
Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done his show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed to the business owner to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa.
Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy. I'm originally from Tulsa, born and raised here. I went to a small private liberal arts college and got a degree in business. And I didn't learn anything like they're teaching here. I didn't learn linear workflows. I learned stuff that I am not using and I haven't been using for the last 9 years. So what they're teaching here is actually way better than what I got at business school. And I went what was actually ranked as a very good business school. The linear workflow for us and getting everything out on paper and documented is really important. Like we have workflows that are kind of all over the place, so having linear workflow and seeing that mapped out on multiple different boards is pretty awesome. That's really helpful for me. The atmosphere here is awesome. I definitely just stared at the walls, figuring out how to make my facility look like this place. This place rocks. It's invigorating. The walls are super, it's just very cool. The atmosphere is cool. The people are nice. It's a pretty cool place to be. Very good learning atmosphere. I literally want to model it and steal everything that's here at this facility and basically create it just on our business side.
Once I saw what they were doing, I knew I had to get here at the conference. This is probably the best conference or seminar I've ever been to in over 30 years in business.
You're not bored. You're awake, alive the whole time. It's not pushy. They don't try to sell you a bunch of things.
I was looking to learn how to just get control of my life, my schedule, and just get control of the business.
Planning your time, breaking it all down, making time for the F6 in your life, and just really implementing it and sticking with the program.
It's really lively. They're pretty friendly, helpful, very welcoming.
I attended a conference a couple months back, and it was really the best business conference I've ever attended.
At the workshop, I learned a lot about time management, really prioritizing what's the most important.
Biggest takeaways are, you want to take a step-by-step approach to your business. Whether it's marketing, what are those 3 marketing tools that you want to use, to human resources.
Some of the most successful people and successful businesses in this town, their owners were here today because they wanted to know more from Clay, and I found that to be kind of fascinating.
The most valuable thing that I've learned is diligence, that businesses don't change overnight. It takes time and effort, and you got to go through the ups and downs of getting it to where you want to go.
He actually gives you the roadmap out. I was stuck, didn't know what to do, and he gave me the roadmap out step by step.
We've set up systems in the business that make my life much easier, allow me some time freedom.
Here you can ask any question you want. They guarantee it'll be answered.
This conference motivates me and also give me a lot of knowledge and tools.
It's up to you to do it. Everybody can do these things. There's stuff that everybody knows, but if you don't do it, nobody else can do it for you.
I can see the marketing working. And it's just an approach that makes sense.
Probably the most notable thing is just the income increase that we've had.
Everyone's super fun, it's super motivating. I've been here before, but I'm back again because it motivates me.
Your competition's going to come eventually, or try to pick up these tactics. So if you don't, somebody else will.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us. This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live 2 years ago. This is our old neighborhood. See? It's nice, right? So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood.
This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that You guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
So we really just want to thank you, Clay, and thank you, Vanessa, for everything you've done, everything you've helped us with. We love you guys.
If you decide to not attend the Thrive Time workshop, you're missing out on a great opportunity.
The atmosphere of Clay's office is very lively. You can feel the energy as soon as you walk through the door, and it really got me and my team very excited.
If you decide not to come, you're missing out on an opportunity to grow your business. Bottom line.
Love the environment. I love the way that Clay presents and teaches. It's a way that not only allows me to comprehend what's going on, but he explains it in a way to where it just makes sense.
The SEO optimization, branding, marketing. I've learned more in the last 2 days than I have the entire 4 years of college.
The most valuable thing that I've learned, marketing is key. Marketing is everything.
Making sure that you're branded accurately and clearly. How to grow a business using Google reviews, and then just how to optimize our name through our website also.
Helpful with a lot of marketing, search engine optimization, helping us really rank high in Google.
The biggest thing I needed to learn was how to build my foundation, how to systemize everything and optimize everything, build my SEO.
How to become more organized, more efficient.
How to make sure the business is really there to serve me as opposed to me constantly being there for the business.
New ways of advertising my business as well as recruiting new employees.
Group interviews, number one. Before we felt like we were held hostage by our employees. Group interviews has completely eliminated that because you're able to really find the people that would really be the best fit.
Hands-on how to hire people, how to deal with human resources, a lot about marketing, and overall just how to structure the business to how it works for me, and also then how that can translate into working better for my clients.
The most valuable thing I've learned here is time management.
I like the 1 hour of doing your business is real critical if I'm going to grow and change.
Clay really teaches you how to navigate through those things and not only find freedom, but find your purpose in your business and find the purposes for all those other people that directly affect your business as well.
Everybody.
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 Everyone needs to attend the conference because you get an opportunity to see that it's real.